everyone. I hope you are all doing well. It is the last week of the drawing challenge. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we made it. I can't believe we made it to the last week. It's week 9 and we are down to our last 4 OCs: Erston, Bunyi, Valencia, and Veo. And without further ado, because I have quite a bit I want to discuss regarding the results and the outcomes, let's dig in or dive right into day 49. For day 49, I didn't think Erston's piece would turn out painterly, but the prompt I gave him fitted perfectly, and I just went with the idea. Most of it was just me stroking the colors until I was satisfied, and in my defense, it was pretty satisfying. When I made the colors darker, I changed the hue along with the value. I tried keeping the saturation of my colors consistent so that when I shade, nothing looks muddy. I fiddled a lot, and in this painting, when I made the colors darker, I went for a little bit of a bluish tone so that the saturation still is retained. I also gave some extra lines to give definition to the objects in the background, as well as some multiply and add layers to help. And admittedly, while I was listening, or while I was drawing, while I was painting, I was listening to a lot of Mimi's songs. I love Mimi. She's a great Vocaloid producer. I love her music. And it helped put me in a Fat Erston mood, which was great because I'm working on Erston's piece in this time lapse. I enjoyed myself thoroughly with day 49 and I'm satisfied with it. So here is day 49, Erston. On day 50, I felt like making a smaller piece. Partly because I don't really like Bunny as a character, but let's ignore that. And I was thinking of combining this with a speed challenge. Although I didn't time myself, I still managed to complete it rather quickly. And to be fair, I gave myself a simple prompt that I rearranged multiple times because I wanted to keep it simple and quick. Because I don't really want to draw Bunyi for a long time. I don't really like him. I'm sorry, Bunyi. Okay. In regards to the piece, I used some pink to shade the subject, and since pink has a mix of purple and red in its hue, I felt like it worked well in a background that primarily focused on a warm color like orange. It's analogous and it doesn't make the rendering muddy, just as I hoped. Anyways, we won't spend much time with him. Here is day 50, Bunyi. Day 51 gives us our last Oceanorus OC, Valencia, and we're almost done. This is the second last piece of the challenge, and I looked forward to starting hers, if I'm being honest. I enjoyed drawing the 3D shapes that was her body, and I knew I needed the perspective, proportion, and anatomy practice, anything really that had to do with setting up the piece. It's strange because I didn't really spend as much time on it as I thought, but I didn't feel rushed either. And finally, I added some thick red accent strokes to give some texture and contrast to this otherwise very, very purple piece. I love purple, but I wanted to give a bit of contrast, as I've mentioned before, to give a bit of interest to the piece. Anyways, that's about it for day 51, so here's Valencia's piece for day 51. Here it is. This is the very last drawing that will be in this challenge, day 52. Luckily for me, I knew exactly what I was going to do with the prompt. Unlucky I was, however, with the subject. His expression was horrendous for me to draw, and it took a few redraws, a couple of redraws, and I couldn't stop staring at it and taking it seriously. I couldn't stop laughing at it. Drawing him was interesting, and I probably need to revisit Emscape and give him a little bit of a makeover. Another thing, it's kind of strange because despite knowing what I was going to do with the prompt, the colors I had pre-picked interacted completely differently from a similar piece. Even though I stuck to the purples and the pinks and the greens, I had to dial down the colors because the color palette of Veo is relatively pale, and if I kept the colors bright, it would stay too bright, and it would end up looking a bit harsh. It just comes to show how the colors behave differently with even different OCs or different color palettes. Other than that, I had quite a bit of fun with the piece. I was experimenting with some brushes once more. Some of them I used before, and for the most part, I just used what I learned and, if I'm being honest, goof off. So here is the very last piece, Day 52, our last Emscape and last OC for Volume 1, Veo. And those are all the pieces from this Volume 1 drawing challenge, where I draw an OC every day. I can't believe I completed this challenge, and for me, even completed it earlier than expected. I'm convinced that God really helped me because I have no clue how some of these were completed so quickly. I didn't even feel that rushed, and I'm so grateful that I did this. Originally, I started because of the Genius album cover drawing I made back in July, and when I made that, I realized that some of my OCs haven't been drawn in a while. Some haven't been drawn at all up to that point, and I wanted to change that and to say that I have drawn and tended to all my OCs, even if just once. But this challenge also evolved into this rebirth age where my art, my style, and techniques, and even my supplies were changed drastically. I never thought I'd have a mini renaissance between my visual artworks, but I feel like my workflow finally found its rhythm and beat. This challenge also pushed me to be a lot more decisive. When it came to my drawings, I had to start making choices because the drawing needed to be released at the end of the day. So, of course, I couldn't dwell on it forever. I had to eventually make up my mind. And even when I noticed its flaws, I kept them because it was the final version and the version I sent to you guys. I also found a lot more material that I could work with that helped me expand upon my characters and their storytelling, and the storytelling in general. My stories! I experimented a lot, and it was amazing for a variety. And especially with their traits, I finally made up some choices that I wasn't able to make back then. And even with the sudden change in pace, I still enjoyed drawing, and I was so excited to sit down and draw for hours at a time while binging shows in the background. Sometimes I would do more of the binging than the drawing, but that's not important here. All of the things I learned from this are invaluable for now and in the future, and even for the future stories that I plan on bringing to all of you. Thank you to everyone who has followed along on my socials and who's even given me some invaluable advice. Truly, I'm very grateful. And in general, I'm just glad that I was able to embark on this challenge, and I'm even more happy for the people who have been following along and giving me advice and pointers on everything that I've created, even if it was taking a while for me to actually implement them. I'm really grateful to embark on this, as I've mentioned before, and I feel like I've gotten quite a lot of help from the people around me, the ones above, and in general, I'm just so glad. There's quite a lot of things, and I don't know. That's about it, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following along on this challenge. I'm gonna be taking a bit of a break, that's for sure. Or maybe not, I don't know. I tend to work better when I do more things. Though I should probably change that. I'm wishing you all the best and have a great day and night. And this is Iyah signing off for the Volume 1 Drawing Challenge. Bye!